Good evening and welcome to Poets Day. It's not been a bad day today. It has turned quite cold this evening though. These are two engines, the Adams and the 8F, which are proving problematic. The Adams I'm afraid I'm going to return to Accucraft for them to sort because it just is not right. The 8F I bought, I knew that was a pig in the poke anyway. But the Adams, you can see it moving here, it's a significant disappointment. It only seemed to manage one complete circuit of the track today. When I first got it, it was very, very good, but I don't know. I've an idea that the timing's wrong on it. In fact, here it is moving backwards. It was happier to go backwards than it was forwards, which was rather disappointing. I spent a considerable period this morning trying to get them to run. Both of them. The 8F was particularly bad. The 8F didn't run at all, and you can see what a struggle it is with this Adams now. So rather a disappointment. And eventually, around about 1:15, I called it a day and went in for lunch. And after lunch, I dug out an engine which I've found to be particularly reliable, and I am very pleased with. So here we are, and here is the Bowandy Britannia. Now the conditions are identical for all the engines, but this engine again performed faultlessly, and I ran it for the best part of 2.5 hours this afternoon, whilst fiddling trying to get the Adams to go as well. That's why I'm sorry, Graham, if you ever watch one of these videos, it's coming back to you, but don't worry, the 8F's going back, not the 8F, the A4 I've got's going back to Bowandy. Anyway, here's the Britannia doing a fine job. Very, very good indeed. And, well, I mean, this one has performed perfectly out of the box in all conditions, and I really can't complain about it at all, and I won't. It was interesting, I've got a rake of 8 carriages behind it today, because they were the first ones I could get out, and I only had to put gas in twice, the initial fill and about halfway through. The watering was okay. I think the clack's sticking on the axle pump, so I'm going to have to loosen that up, but the tender pump's working fine, and so it did mean that every sort of 5 circuits I would pause the engine, check the water level, make sure that was okay, and then carry on. One of the pleasing things then is that the engine is sort of self-starting. Here comes the Adams again, trying and just trying to get this engine going. I mean, we put warm water in the warm water bath, the whole shebang. I've an idea that the actual butane filling point is defective, and there possibly is a leak in the tank. I'm not sure, but I'm going to send it back and Graham can sort it out. If he can't sort it out, then he can credit me towards my next engine. But this Britannia ran really well. But came in. I actually slowed her down so I could devote more time to the Adams. So you'll see later on, she's not screaming round quite as quickly. Here's one of the almost runs with the Adams, but sadly didn't happen, and I had to go around and give her a poke. Very, very disappointing. Anyway, I was saying about with the Britannia, and the little chain couplings on the brake ends of the Mark 1s, one of those fell today. When it came in, I set it off again after I'd got the water level where I wanted it on the Britannia, set it off, and as I watched it go away, I thought, hang on a minute, it's only got 4 carriages on the back. I looked behind, and it had left 4 behind. One of the links had failed, so I think I'm going to change those. I'm going to fit Marklin screw link couplings on, the carriages. I don't want that sort of thing. That's the second failure in sort of a couple of 3 weeks. So here she goes. Now, if I'm lucky, you'll see how I can just set the regulator on this and she self-starts, which gives me a chance to actually film as well. So I was very pleased with that. Very sound little engine. And where the whistle valve was, it was actually limiting how far I could move the regulator. I didn't realise that was stopping the regulator moving, and that was quite handy. So that gave it a useful setting for speed type of thing. So very, very good. I don't think this video is enormously long. I hope not, but anyway, look at the beautiful plume of exhaust from the engine. Really, really lovely. You can see that I've knocked her back because she's much slower coming around this reverse curve now, which I think is a bit tortuous. I've got an idea. I've got a little idea, perhaps for a phase 2 in the spring. I'm thinking of throwing a junction in here and straightening that out so it is a straight oval, but I might take a double junction out of there, or the crossover and everything. See, there's the dead Adams yet again, just sitting there doing nothing. You'll see it. I wish to say we were just posing in places while we're running, but I am very sorry to say it's not. Lovely clicky clack sound at times here. Super engine. And I'm very, very pleased with the carriages as well. You see the 2 butane cans there. I've got 2 different fillers on there because I just didn't seem to be able to get the fuel into the tank on the Adams, and very, very, very disappointed with it today. That's what's made me decide that I can send it back to Accurcraft and they can sort it out. And if they can't sort it out, then they can just credit what I paid for it towards. I've got the Moga on order with them, and I'll wait for that. I mean, things like the Shay and the Prairie and other engines have all worked absolutely beautifully, but for some reason this Adams is playing up. There we go. Superb. Got enormous pleasure out of there, sitting out there today, watching the engine. It turned a really beautiful day. I must say that it has turned rather cold this evening, and my folly. Oh look, the Adams is actually moving. And my folly was to go out there this evening with Helga. Now, I purposely slowed the Britannia to try and catch these 2 passing. Jolly hard work. Anyway, as I was saying, I went out this evening when I was going to wait for it to be dark, but I'm glad I didn't, because good grief. So we got it sort of duskish out there for just to capture Helga and Gretchen with their lights on, fitted lights into the cabin. I need to populate those, and I will need to paint them. Can't work out what names to give the other 2 rail cars when I do them, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. I remember Hildy, a young girl I knew when I was very young, so maybe I'll remember her with that one, because I couldn't put on a Pullman coach. Oh look, the Adams is going by. Good grief. And look, it's stopping. I mean, what? What's going on? There we are. Fortunately, this one was making me feel good. I'm pleased to say it has gone wine o'clock. Hopefully my speech is not slurred. Mind of that chap Floyd with his cooking. He kept slurping his red wine. Can't drink red wine, give me terrible. I should be able to make up a rake of 12 of those shortly. And this engine will be joined by the Merchant Navy shortly. I'm hoping this lockdown thing's going to be over soon and I can pop over and pick that up. Plus the another dozen carriages I've bought. Super. But, very, very good. I know I'm very trying, but I am trying to get some sort of different shots and angles for you on these things. Look at that lovely plume as it's going along. Superb. And it's coping with my threepenny bit curves very, very well indeed. Great. No drone footage today. I think the engines always look better when they got a decent length train on as well. That's why when I built this, I was determined that I could have up to at least a 12-car train if I wanted, and they look so right then. They fit, as it were. It's not this. I don't wish to make any enemies or anything, but I mean, when I see beautiful Pacifics running with a couple or maybe 4 carriages behind them, unless it's a spam can coming up from Barnstaple or Tiverton or something, where we know it would start off with a couple and pick one up here and another one there. But when I see these poor A4s and things going along with maybe only half a dozen, it just doesn't seem right. I think 8's the minimum for a Pacific when it's on the main line like here. But, there we are. I'm sure someone will shoot me down, and perhaps there'll be something in the comments telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I won't really be able to disagree there, because I really don't know what I'm talking about. This is supposed to be a long shot. Might have been better if it was done the other way around. There we are. I think we're probably approaching the end now. But, I don't think there's an awful lot left, because I didn't want to bore you to death. The lovely tail lamps on the back of the train, that's very good. It's an idea I pirated from Chris. Mine is not quite as sophisticated as his, but it does the job. Yes, it's getting late now. My shadow's starting to creep over the track. Here we are, a little bit of night viewing coming up. So, goodbye Britannia, hello Helga. And here we are, Helga and Gretchen out in the dark. So, very pleased with these, and I look forward to the other 2 rail cars joining them soon. And, off we go. I've got a set of Christmas lights all the way around the perimeter of the track, as it were, and a number of these PIR type lamps, so Helga and Gretchen flick those on and off from time to time as they go by. It's quite funny, but very pleased. I got all, and you'll notice I've put all the lights back where they're meant to be now, and I've lit the interior. I will be decorating the interiors and populating them, so I did fix the lights the other day. Very, very pleased with these, and Pico have done a good job. Very nice indeed. This is only very short, so don't worry, I haven't got to put up with another I don't know how long of it. So but a jolly good day, and I enjoyed myself. And I mean, there's a chap called Barry Davis does 00 gauge stuff, and he says if you get half the pleasure out of your railway that he gets out of his, then it's all been worthwhile. And I agree with that. I get enormous pleasure out of my little railway, as you can see, and I think it's just marvellous. There we go, there's Helga, Gretchen running along. They're probably going out on the RAS or something this evening. It's probably better not to ask, but I think we're fast approaching bedtime, in fact. For them, not me. I know I'm getting old, but I will stay up a little longer yet. Amazing, these cheap LED lights you can get from China. I suspect this is it. So I'll bid you farewell. If you like it, please give it a like and share it with anyone you think might enjoy it. Thanks very much for watching. All the best.